Hi friends, it's Lauren Taylor. Thanks for joining me in my craft room today. I'm excited because not only is it Fandom Friday, but it's also this month's Oh So Inspired collaboration hop. While I get my supplies ready, I wanted to show you our inspiration from Megan K, also known as Made by Megan K on Instagram. You can see her beautiful card here. I loved the layout, I loved the gingham, and I loved the bees or the bugs. For my case, I'm going to use the layout to inspire my card, as well as that gingham and the cute little bugs. As always, you can find our collaboration playlist down below in the description box of this video, so you can hop along with my crafty friends and me to see how we all used Megan K's card to inspire our projects. But let's get into what I'm doing on my craft desk. So I grabbed some black cardstock and I picked some pattern paper and solid cardstock from some scrapbook.com paper pads. I'm going with the classic color theme for this anti-hero here that I've already stamped and colored. So I have purple, greens, and that gingham, and I also brought in a green plaid pattern paper. And I'm creating a layout. I didn't look up or see what measurements Megan K used, so I'm kind of winging it on my own here, but I did cut a piece of black cardstock to an A2 size, so 4¼ by 5½, and then I trimmed a purple piece of cardstock measured to 4 by 5¼ and then I trimmed another piece of black to 2¼ by 4½, and I'm cutting this green plaid to be 2 by 4¼ so there is an 1/8 of an inch border around the purple cardstock as well as the green plaid. For the gingham, I'm going to trim this down to be 1¼ by 4, so it will be the same width as the purple across the card. And I'm going to cut a green piece to 1/2 inch by 4 as well. So I have all of the different layered pieces so far. I will need to do a little bit more cutting of my black cardstock once I get my sentiment ready, but I thought I would start figuring out the layout and make sure I have what I want for the card background. So as I'm gluing these layers together, I did stamp and color and fussy cut out my images. This is from this set called 3 Times from Kindred Stamps. And the reason why I did color ahead of time was because this is a hot video and I didn't want my video to be 20 minutes long, as you guys are going to be hopping along and checking everybody out. But if you want to see these characters colored in the future, just let me know in the comments and I will work on that for a future episode for Fandom Friday. So I glued my purple to the black cardstock, and now I'm using my grid to help me get these 2 paper strips centered as best as possible. Again, I really wanted to lean into the purple, black and white and green theme, even though I do have other colors on my card. Just that feels very classic to this fandom for me. Next, I'm adhering the green plaid pattern paper to its coordinating black cardstock, and I'm going to glue that to the left just like Megan K had in her card. For my sentiment, I'm just going to stamp the happy birthday, that's 3 times from the stamp set, onto a piece of white cardstock. So I'm going to grab my Misty just in case it doesn't stamp perfectly the first time, which won't be the case, but I like to just use a stamping platform as much as possible. And I'm going to stamp that sentiment in VersaFine Onyx black ink, which is one of my favorite go-to inks. I'm also going to bring in some VersaFine Clairs later, and I'm really excited because I just ordered the new colors from VersaFine Clair, and I can't wait for them to get here. So I have my sentiment now stamped. Like I said, just the one stamp ended up being perfect, so I'm really happy about that. And I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and I'm just going to do my best to trim evenly around all 4 sides of my sentiment. I definitely could have gone with a smaller piece of cardstock or used a smaller trimmer, but it ends up working just fine. I think it looks pretty centered by the time I'm done. Instead of measuring out the size of this piece of white cardstock, I'm just going to adhere it to a piece of black cardstock that's, much larger. And I'm going to do my best to get that even border around all 4 sides again. So I glued it into the corner, trying to create that 1/8 of an inch ish border around 2 of the sides and then trimmed the rest with my paper trimmer. Next, I'm going to work on creating kind of a dry run of how I want my card layout to be. I do have a lot more going on with images on my card compared to Megan K, so I just want to make sure that the layout would still be followed and I could still fit everything in. That large serpent in the back is definitely very large, but I wanted to add I wanted to add a pattern to my purple cardstock and immediately dropped my ink pad onto my background. I was so sad. I don't know if you saw my couple moments there of just staring at my card wondering what I was going to do. But luckily, it fell in a way that I am going to make it work, and you'll never know that I dropped my ink pad on my background. So I grabbed this little insect from the 3 times stamp set, and I'm creating my own background by stamping it kind of a tone on tone. So I used a purple ink. This is Monarch from a Monarch VersaFine Clair ink pad. And I made sure to cover areas that I knew would show like that kind of top left corner of my ink pad impression. I put a bug there, but a lot of it will be covered with the rest of my card layout. So for example, this kind of longer piece here covered a lot that left an impression on my paper strips, and my sentiment is going to cover a lot of that top kind of what's in the top right hand corner of my background. Now, there is one area that I will have to pivot and try to hide, but you'll see how I do that as the card process goes on. So I messed around with my layout. I think I can recover. I'm feeling much better. I was very sad for quite a bit there, but I popped up my happy birthday sentiment with some foam adhesive. I put a little bit of foam adhesive behind this serpent here, more towards the top, and I'm using liquid glue on its tail because of the way that it will lay out on the card. So I wanted the support at the heads part, but I wanted the tail to be glued to the background. I added more foam adhesive behind my Fandom guy character, and I'm adhering him down, and then added that same foam adhesive to my female character and glued her down. So there's one little spot, I don't know if you can see, there's a weird purple line right above my guy character's head. And it's kind of obvious because it's on the white, and so I'm thinking, what can I do to hide that? Well, I thought I would stamp 3 more of these little bugs, this time in a green ink. This is Verdant from VersaFine Clair, or it's a VersaFine Clair ink. And I stamped it 3 times because we're going with 3. It is the name of the stamp set. And also, Megan K had 3 bees on her card, so I'm leaning into that. And I'm adding little bits of foam adhesive after I fussy cut them out. And I'm going to add this first one right where that last bit of ink impression is on my background. So covering that, you can't even tell that I completely dropped a full ink pad on the front of my card. It worked out really nicely. So I just tucked the other 2 in around the card, just where I thought they would look nice, fill in some gaps. And then I realized that I did not add any white highlights to my character, so I'm just going to use a 10-point Jelly Roll white gel pen to add in highlights to my images, including the little pinks of my cheeks of my girl. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm going to grab my top folding A2 card base, and I'm going to go ahead and add the adhesive to the card base. I didn't want to smear my white gel pen, so I went ahead and used the glue straight onto my card base. I knew that my card front was A2 in size, so it would line up perfectly. I'm making sure to line it up with the scored folded side. That way, in case my card base wasn't trimmed to fit perfectly with my card front, I could trim it after, but it looks really great. I'm so happy with how this card turned out. I hope you had fun with me for Fandom Friday, or if you're here for the Oh So Inspired collaboration hub, I hope that you like how I took Megan K's layout with her gingham and her bugs and made it more my own. But don't forget to click on that playlist so you can hop along with my friends, and I'm going to go ahead and hop along too now because I'm so excited to see what everyone made. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!